What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you come back to China? What do you see? What do you smell? What do you feel?
Pollution.
That's the first thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think, this is one of the costs of rapid economic development, depending on heavy manufacturing, heavy industrial, and clearly it's kind of coming to the end of its life. So we are at this tipping point where policymakers need to make a decision for the future of China.
Is it investable information when you see people leaving China because of the pollution?
Clearly, I think China faced the confidence crisis, and it's been this way for a while. A lot of CEOs and CFOs that I talked to, they all wanted to, purchase properties and, send their kids overseas. If the wealthy, privileged, and connected all leave the country, so what's left here? Rather empty shell. So that's certainly something we need to keep in mind.
Such a weighty subject, perhaps better digested over food. Junheng Li spent her first 20 years in China, shaped at an early age in a post-Mao Shanghai by strict but loving tiger parents, as she calls them. She moved to America in the 90s, got a liberal arts education, worked Wall Street, wrote a book, and now advises U.S. clients on how to invest in China.
I oftentimes consider myself as a detective of companies. So, I don't take things for granted. And a big portion of the book is to show people how to conduct meticulous.
You are not a China bull. You are a China bear. Why are you bearish on China? Is it because of trust issue?
I don't think it's a bull or bear kind of black and white story. I think China has been extremely successful in lifting millions, hundreds of millions of people out of poverty in a very short period of time. It's just at this point of time, I mean, we are coming to the end of its existing growth model. Now we need to do something different. And to do that, we need a human capital in a civil society where independent media, freedom of choices, and the freedom of speech are allowed.
From an international investor perspective, is the honeymoon over as far as the rush into China? Are people now really doing their due diligence, like we've seen with Muddy Waters and other hedge funds? They're really looking at China. Jim Chanos has been predicting a crash for the longest time. What's your view?
I think Muddy Waters was great. He raised red flags in a lot of corporate governance, minority share protection issues. And I think we are not completely clean yet. There's still a lot of impurities in Hong Kong listed and China-based US listed companies. So, and it's very, I would say it's hard to make a generalized call. China is so vast. They're good businesses, but they tend to be privately owned.
But a lot of these private companies, they're family owned. They don't, independent shareholders' rights are non-existent here.
That's okay if they're private, but when they become public, that's an issue.
Yeah,
because
but the private ones go public to get the cash register.
Eventually, that needs to be, Chinese companies need to know that, when they go public, when they raise money from shareholders become their bosses. I mean, they become the owners of the business.
This is alien thought here.
Because Chinese history, Chinese economy, the private market economy has only been there for 34 years. Hopefully, over the time, the corporate governance will catch up the global standard. It has to.